Namaste. Many among us wants to join the Indian Defence Forces, but somehow they could not join that. Indian Defence Forces, known for its brave feeling, known for the passion of that national spirit, which is envisaged with the duty towards the nation. Indian Defence Forces, which is known for its pride, honor, valor, and whatever you want to call it. Of course, most of the youth power whom they want to join the Indian National Army, somehow they could not able to join it, but there is an option coming in for them, which is providing a golden opportunity for the new millennials, new youth power to join into army on the ad hoc or temporary basis for a short term of 3 years and serve the nation. That concept is mooted right now. The name is tour of duty. Probably it may be implemented in the coming years. So let's discuss what is the tour of duty, why this becomes important in the year 2020, and what are the changes it is going to bring in with it. What are the economic prospects it is going to enshrine upon Indian Defence Forces and also the Government of India's defence allocations. At the same time, what are the challenges it is going to pose and what are the future possibilities in the Indian Defence Forces. Let's discuss. This is Shreyank S. Ranade. So in the beginning, what is tour of duty? Tour of duty is nothing but an ad hoc conception, an ad hoc opportunity for the youth power who are very much patriotic, who are having very high zeal to join the Indian Defence Forces and serve the nation in their respective spirits and respective ambits. So for them, Indian Defence Forces is coming up with an idea that is tour of duty, wherein a young graduate for the 3 years of term he can join the Indian Defence Forces, can take a rightful training, dedicate himself for next 3 years towards the Indian defence, protecting the borders, involving in the humanitarian aid, getting ready for the national call at any time without giving any reasons, and at the same time he can wear some very reputed uniform. He can come back after serving the 3 years of ad hoc service with merit, with rank, with possible respect on his shoulders. So idea is very simple. 3 years of temporary period where a youth will serve the Indian Defence Forces and return back to his respective occupation once the 3-year term is over. So this basic concept is already been implemented in Israel. It is made compulsory provision. A tour of duty is a compulsory provision in Israel. In the United States, it is optional provision. However, these concepts are already there across the world in different nations. But for India, this concept has become something new, something innovative, something reformative. Also, some sort of new opening for the youths who cannot join Indian Defence Forces for, let's say, 14 years of short service commission or the rest of life in the permanent commission or any sort of lateral entries through CAPF or any kind of things, so that they will be availed with the opportunity of serving this Indian defence, serving the nation by joining the Indian Defence Forces, which is known for its adventurism. Youth always needs that sort of adventurism with them, and many aspire to join the nation, join this Indian Defence Forces, but not for the longer term. For them, there's a golden opportunity of joining for the 3 years and coming back home for the respective innovation. This idea has been aggressively mooted by Takshashila think tank, which is a think tank dedicated to Indian Defence Forces and national security. When this idea was mooted, even this was backed by, implicitly it was backed by Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat, when he said, of course, we are planning for the more flexibility and accessibility in the short service commission. We are thinking about it. That means possibly in the coming years, this tour of duty is going to be one of the successful implementation or possibly the new innovation in the Indian Defence Forces for the new recruitment for the ad hoc period of time. Of course, when I say ad hoc, it doesn't mean that there will be dilution in the provision of recruitment. It will purely depend upon the physical as well as the aptitudinal skill of the person who wants to become that officer, or who wants to serve the nation as like an internship for 3 years. Again, he can come back to his own profession. Already Tech Mahindra officially said, or probably it is understood, that companies like Tech Mahindra are keen to give the job opportunities for the person who served that tour of duty period. At the same time, many corporates say that we are always happy when the young professionals join us around 25 to 27 years age, rather than coming at the age of 30-35 years. The youthful potential will be best utilized in the Indian defense. At the same time, that potential will remain, that discipline will remain when they come back to the civilian life, in the professional life, so that it can be best utilized even for our firm's development or successful, what do you say, that term where one is serving. So this is the concept of tour of duty. But fact of the matter, when we say that Indian Defence Forces and Government of India is keen to utilize the most important patriotic zeal of the youth power towards the national building duty of serving the nation by protecting the nation by joining the Indian National Army, or let's say Navy, or let's say Air Force, or any other critical services of the defense forces. That means there is also something called as a economic aspect. We know recently, since 2016 or so, one rank one pension was introduced in the Indian Defence Forces, wherein there was a lot of disparity between the ranks, between the years, so that in order to bring in the same normalcy, or say let's bring in about universalism of pension system, one rank one pension was introduced. Since then, this year's defense budget, or let's say this year's defense budget 2021, under the union government's budget, it was a defense pension was allocated towards 1,33,825 crores, which is nearly 10 times larger than what it was in the 2005-6, when one rank one pension was not as such introduced, or it was not even planned then. The budget allocation for the defense pension in 2005-6 was around 12,715 crores. We must understand the fact that the economic burden with which the salaries and pension put forth by the Indian Defense or Defense Ministry towards the Government of India at the cost of defense modernization. We must understand this fact. The defense cost for the or expenditure for the salary is larger than what we are supposed to spend, what we are ought to spend towards the capital infrastructural development or defense modernization. We must understand nearly 4.4% of the central government's total expenditure goes towards the defense pension. We must understand 57% of the defense budget goes towards pensions and also salaries, out of which 28.4% of defense ministry's budget moves towards the pension. Which means, when I say that 57% of the overall defense budget goes towards the salaries, that means for the defense modernization, defense infrastructure, it is only left with 43%, out of which it has to go for the procurement, it has to go for the internal maintenance, etc., etc. You all know that. At the same time, when I say this defense expenditure is high towards salary, towards pension, towards the consumption, that means 0.6% of the GDP is invested upon that. Smart economy always says that whenever you do or you take a loan, or whenever you outlay some huge amount for something, that has to be productive, that has to be towards capital expenditure. You lessen the aspect of consumption, you increase the aspect of capital investment, so that the return will come as the productive thing, and also it will be a win-win situation both for the economy as well as the field where you are investing in. We must understand the fact defense pension around like allocation is like around, let's say 15,291 crores higher than what is supposed to be towards the defense capital infrastructural or defense capital investment. That means when things should be more towards the infrastructure or defense, critical aspects, we are spending more on the salary and pension component. 15,291 crores is not a small amount. When we are feeling threatened by our own neighbors. From one side, Pakistan is willing to give entry to many of the terrorists from the Pak-occupied Kashmir region in the Gilgit-Baltistan region through many valleys towards India. China, what we are seeing in the Galwan Valley, the expansionist policies continued in the Ladakh region, how it is shifting the border posts towards India, towards the Indian part of line of actual control in the Ladakh region. We are seeing what Nepal is trying to do in the region of Kalapani when our own neighbors are threatening us. At the same time, even at the global level, US is talking about coming out of Open Skies Treaty, planning about the nuclear tests. Possibility there may be a picture that possibly there could be a war post whatever we are saying, economic sanctions, Cold War situation and all between China and USA. At the same time, we are also saying that during this pandemic tough time, when humanity has to fight towards that common enemy of virus, we are involving ourselves in petty boundary issues which can be resolved easily through diplomacy and already available setups. We are going aggressive. Iran has already launched the first military satellite. It is reported that China, Russia, North Korea are doing low intensity nuclear tests. We don't know. US is claiming that. Many nations are going offensive with respect to military aspects. The time when there was a need for solidarity, when there was a need that everyone would have stood together, because this virus has shown us, a small tiny creature has shown us how to become more humans. But at this point of time, we are again and again becoming inhumans. All these challenges are always real, not just virtual, because prosperity cannot survive with weakness. Therefore, it is necessary that even in the post-pandemic period, when there is a crunch, even in the budget, even in our own economy, even in the consumption, that any nation cannot say goodbye to defense funding, because it is necessary. In case of India, let's say 130 crore people's safety resides on the work service of the Indian Defense Forces. But fact of the matter, most of that economic value, economic cost shouldn't be spent just on the pension. I'm not saying that a rightful defense personnel shouldn't get pension. No, I am not saying that. Fact of the matter, every defense personnel, for his duty, for his valor, for his sacrifice, they should get more than what they deserve, or let's say more than what they are getting right now. But fact of the matter, we must also understand that only pensions and salaries cannot become part of the Indian defense services. Many countries are advancing, technologies are coming in, defense infrastructure modernization, that is the epitome or paramount thing. Because see, we cannot keep on spending the lives of Jawans in the borders, rather than we can spend the same money in the defense modernization and give them some bulletproof jackets, give them some night vision lens. We can utilize the capacities of drones, artificial intelligence. Human lives is more than the bullets. Therefore, defense modernization always plays a key role. Rifle or most of the Air Force procurement, Navy procurement, submarine construction, ship construction, all these aspects are necessary. Anti-tank missiles, many of the missiles what we construct, also anti-missile defense systems, and many symmetric and asymmetric warfare which we need to include and involve for the safety of India and also 130 crore Indians. As I said earlier, prosperity cannot survive with weakness. Therefore, the strength, because Indian Defense Forces or Defense Forces is the symbol of strength of any nation. And it represents that strength wherein international forum recognizes the nation, or it treats that nation with respect, or most of the nations who may want to expand themselves do not indulge in petty issues when you have the strength to protect yourself, also to defeat or teach a lesson to the enemy who is trying to infiltrate in your borders, or try to create some sort of destabilizations. Hence, economic value is always paramount, and that economic value must be larger towards the capital infrastructural development than towards pension and salaries, what is going on right now. Hence, as many estimates say that during the short service commission, a personnel is spent with around 5 to 6 crores of rupees by the government of India, by the defense ministry, from pre-training to including all the allowances, salaries, etc., and also includes pension and all the other aspects. But if the tour of duty is included as the active recruitment process or active wing for newly recruited personnels, then a larger chunk of economic burden can be reduced. And many estimates say that 3 years of a personal's tenure can save up to nearly 5 crores of rupees for the Indian Defence Forces. Therefore, they are also saying that possibility that if the 1,000 soldiers are inducted through the system of tour of duty, in that case nearly 11,000 crores can be saved every year for the defense ministry. 11,000 crores is not a small amount considering our defense budget and all other aspects. But fact of the matter, today the moot has been going on saying that possibly in the first place nearly 100 officers and 1,000 soldiers will be inducted through tour of duty. Given the rigorous training, they will be seen for the next 3 years how they are going to be, how the system will work, how they can be best utilized. Then it will grow aggressively or regressively. It all depends on the study and all the estimation what they do. And it is for the future and also for the fate of the defense forces, or let's say it is on the basis of the estimation and studies it will decide what's going to happen. But fact of the matter, such sort of innovative steps is always a welcome. A reform should always include. When short service commission and permanent commission has become some sort of a burden or economic burden for the government of India, not a burden as personals, because defense forces are never a burden. It is always an asset, human assets. But human assets should also, or let's say capital modernization is always beyond the pension and salary part of the allocation. Therefore, it becomes very much important. Of course, for all these aspects, tour of duty is quite innovative. That is why it is considered one of the newest kind of thing for India, but it is already available in Israel and America. But fact of the matter, one thing we must all understand, that tour of duty doesn't mean dilution of recruitment procedure, but it should also make sure that seriousness of the Indian Defence Service should continue. Patriotic zeal of the youths may be utilized for the best interest of the nation, but that patriotic spirit should also lead towards the successfulness or let's say triumph of the Indian Defence Forces. Because always there will be a debate by the classical thinkers who say experience and training is always paramount than these temporary ad hoc guys who come. Maybe more potential, that is no doubt, but fact of the matter, experience and training, which is always paramount compared to the temporary period of indictment as the internship or as frontline warriors, but always short and permanent commission who have spent so much of time, and also government has invested so much of rupees. Of course, their numbers might reduce, but their existence won't be perished. That much I can say for now. Let's see what will happen in the future. We don't know what are the possibilities and what are the new setups in the post-pandemic world. and post-pandemic defense planning and investment, and also overall defense structure. But all available officers and all the ranks, see, usually that defense forces goes like in a pyramid shape. So when short service commission is over, 1:5 ratio, they will enter the permanent commission. Rest of them return back to their occupation. Same thing might happen with tour of duty, where in 3 years, after serving for 3 years, the people will return back to their own destinations, their own occupations, and to lead their civilian life. But such a conception is always a welcome. Let's see what will happen to such a concept in the future. Let's hope for the best. And also, I request you to say what are the different aspects possible through this sort of tour of duty. Apart from patriotic spirit, utilization of patriotic spirit, diverting the people towards the army, and also giving them good sort of sense of patriotic zeal, and at the same time discipline for their civilian life, and also reduction of the economic burden. That is what it is mooted. But will it also include the critical reforms which is supposed to happen within the defense services, defense system? Will it gradually increase the capital expenditure, and also will it imbue the spirit, or let's say will it practically imbue defense modernization, what has been withheld or what has been said just by giving the reason that pensions and salaries are much higher, our allocation is going much towards that part, therefore we may not be able to modernize it and all. But anything, every time when we say that our Indian Defence Forces is at work, it also means that they are protecting us 24/7, day and night. It also means when there is a crisis even within the civilian life, natural disasters, calamities, international crisis, our neighbors are suffering. Indian Defence Forces is one such force which is at the forefront to rescue Indians, rescue the neighbors, rescue the people who seek help, involve themselves in the selfless humanitarian aid. That part of Indian Defence Forces must always be tapped when we say that Indian Defence Forces always protects the border, involved in the frontline action, in the safeguarding the nation. It must also say that they are also playing different and many roles around us. That must also be appreciated, that must also be saluted. Once again, thank you very much for joining to this discussion with me. Fact of the matter, please mention what are the possible aspects by inculcating or including this concept of tour of duty in Indian Defence Forces in India at this period, let's say 2021 or 2022, at this year, when employment rate is shooting up to 7 to 14 years, when many Moody's and others are reducing the rate, but IMF is quite showing that prospect, that possibility. India and China are growing with 1.2%. When neighbors are becoming more assertive, more expansionist, when there is a threat, possibly virtual as well as the practical threat, during such time, what it means to India or any nation to include such a conception, such an innovative idea called tour of duty, how it is going to change the how it is going to change the Indian Defence Forces outlook, and how it is going to bring about a paradigm shift in the Indian Defence Forces working, the service it provides, the personal's recruitment, and also how more actively the youth power will involve themselves in Indian Defence Forces, what are the changes it is going to bring in. So I hope very, very briefly and quite elaboratively, I tried to put all these points in front of you. It is for you to think, it is for you to decide, and also it is for you that if you are willing to join Indian Defence Forces, get ready. From today itself, you begin training yourself, start preparing yourself, so that among many meritorious competition, you can be one who will be part of the Indian Defence Forces in the first batch of tour of duty. Let's hope for the best. Let's say that such concepts should always bring in some sort of reforms and positivity within the system as well as around us. Let's hope for the best. Once again, thank you for joining me in this brief discussion of tour of duty. Hope I made all my points very clear. Hope you understood most of them, if not all. And thank you once again. Do mention your opinion and comments in the comment section. Once again, thank you very much. Stay safe, stay home. Let's fight this COVID pandemic collectively, unitedly. Let us all secure the nation, secure ourselves, secure society. And we are all, in a way, our COVID warriors. Thank you once again. Dhanyavad. Jai Hind. This is Shreyanka Esranade signing off.